Another week begins here on Bet. Tyler Fulghum joined by the lovely Anita Marks. Joe Fortenbaugh visiting the in-laws, so we had to give him an extra day off to get recalibrated after seeing the family in Buffalo. I'm ready to rock and roll on this bad boy, though, with Anita, who always brings the energy and always brings a shirt that we'll get to in just a second. A reminder for you out there, check out our YouTube channel, ESPN Sports Betting YouTube.com/ESPN Sports Betting is where you can find that. Twitter, Facebook, all the digital platforms as well, where we bring everyone in to give you a little bit of content on all the sports we'll discuss here. But it is Monday, so let's get the week started, Anita, with a little reaction or no action. You know the drill when it comes to this game. I'm going to read a statement. You react if you agree. No reaction if you disagree with this statement. First and foremost, there will be a no-hitter thrown this postseason. Reaction or no action? Now, keep in mind, we've seen 8 so far this season.
I say no action here. No action. Are you kidding me? A team is not going to risk an opportunity of winning a championship by letting one of their star ace pitchers pitch 122 pitches a game. There's no way. And also, keep in mind, we get into the postseason, you've got some of the best lineups, at least we expect, in Major League Baseball. They're going to find a way to hit a baseball. So I say no action there, Tyler.
I am with you, Anita. I, too, say no action. Just such a hard thing to do, throw a no-hitter in the postseason. It's just rarely ever done. I think Roy Halladay is the most recent one. I remember when he was with the Philadelphia Phillies, the late, great Roy Halladay. But I'm going to say no action, despite how many we have seen so far this season. And we just saw an Arizona Diamondback, Tyler Gilbert, throwing in his first ever Major League start, making it look easy, but no action, just probability-wise. Not going to happen, I think, in the MLB postseason. As you said, even though the pitching's good, the offenses are much better as well. All right, let's turn our attention now to the NFL preseason. Before we get to this next reaction or no action, we're going to talk a rookie quarterback, but you're wearing a shirt rocking a rookie quarterback. Is that right?
I am. I'm wearing, man, Justin Fields. He blew it up. He blew it up this weekend. So I have to support the dude. Out of all the rookie quarterbacks, you know, he was the big storyline. So I have to rep him today.
He was awesome against the Miami Dolphins. This rookie quarterback I went to either react or not act to was the first overall selection in this NFL draft, Trevor Lawrence. He's quarterbacking the Jags now this year. So reaction or no action, Anita, the Jags will win less than 6 games this season.
Reaction. You're talking about a rookie quarterback along with a rookie head coach and Urban Meyer who's coming in. Listen, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is a very young roster with Jacksonville. And look at their division. I mean, you know, I think they'll be lucky if they go 1-5, 2-4, of course, if they beat the Texans twice. A lot of people think the Texans are going to be one of the worst, if not worst team in the NFL. One of the games that they potentially could win, I'll give them a chance against Cincinnati. I'll give them a chance against the Jets, and I'll give them a chance against Atlanta. But I think I'm being really optimistic there. So I'm going under. So it is reaction for me when it comes to the Jaguars.
Yeah, their win total is set at 6, and I would go under as well. So I have a reaction here. They just have a really tough schedule. I think they'll win both games against the Houston Texans because, spoiler alert, I think the Texans are going to go 0-17. But they are matched up across conferences with the NFC West, which may be the deepest, best division in the National Football League. And then within the AFC, they're matched up with the AFC East, which has the Bills, New England Patriots I expect to be better. The Dolphins were a 10-win team a season ago. And I think the Jets, who had the number 2 overall pick, might have a better team currently around their rookie QB than what Trevor Lawrence has around his. We'll see about that, but very difficult schedule. So I think 4 to 5 wins is what I'm looking at most likely the Jaguars landing on this season. So again, I don't have a reaction there. I think they're going under 6, which is, ironically enough, what their total is set at for this season. That would be my bet as well. Are you going to get a Trevor Lawrence shirt, by the way? He's got a good salad. He's got a good head of hair that he could put as a silhouette on a shirt, right?
How do you know that I don't already have a Trevor Lawrence shirt? And, oh, by the way, I do have a Tim Tebow shirt as well because I do expect him to make the club. I'm just throwing, I know he needs to learn how to block. I know he needs to learn how to block, but I do have a Tim Tebow shirt. I'll be sporting that at some point in time this season for you, Tyler. You can, I promise you that.
I should have known a Lawrence one might already be being delivered or be at the Anita Marks household. All right, from one rookie QB to the next, reaction or no action, Anita Marks. Mac Jones, who I know is your boy, will be the starter for the Patriots by week 5.
Are we going to call him my boy all season long? Because I don't have a problem with that. You know how I felt about Mac Jones? I felt he was the second best quarterback coming out of this draft. And the fact that he fell to the Patriots is just unbelievable to me. It's like money making money. But reaction, baby. I think Mac Jones should start week 1. So if you're telling me I've got 5 weeks until he can start, he's a better fit in this offense. And I know, we were wowed by Trey Lance and Justin Fields and even Zach Wilson this weekend. But when you look at the time behind center, in regard to pressure rate that Mac Jones faced this weekend, the least out of all the rookie quarterbacks. And he looked good. He's decisive. He's accurate. He's got control of this offense. And it's uncanny considering he is a rookie, although he does come over from Alabama and they run a pro-style offense. So he's the better fit. I can see them utilizing Cam Newton very similar to the way that we saw the Saints utilize Taysom Hill last year. But I'm still banking on that Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback week 1. If not, for sure, by week 5.
All right, I'm going to disagree with you here. Maybe a little vino bet. No action for me. I think this roster is currently built to support a Cam Newton a little bit better than a Mac Jones. Jones needs playmakers on the perimeter because he's not quite the athletic player, and he likes to push the ball a little more vertically than Cam Newton. But we saw this team build around tight ends, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, having a strong run game as well. Damian Harris, Sony Michel, the Stevenson kid who went off for them in the preseason. So I think Bill Belichick is going to try and build this team around, at least for the first, 3, 4, 5 games of the season. Cam, strong running game, strong defense, don't turn the ball over. Now, if Cam starts giving the ball to the other team, then Mac Jones will be in there sooner rather than later, but I think he'll maybe take care of the rock. So a little disagreement there, but good stuff on reaction or no action. Speaking of the Patriots, since we're talking Mac Jones and Cam Newton, maybe our next guest here on Bet can further enlighten us on what Bill Belichick is thinking. Yeah, good luck with that. It is, of course, Mike Reiss joining us now to talk New England Patriots ahead of their second week of preseason action. Mike, thanks for joining us here on Bet. Of course, Bill Belichick played it close to the hoodie in the first game, but by and large, it seemed Mac Jones was getting every bit the opportunity as Cam Newton to figure out who the QB1 will be for Belichick this season. What did teammates say that you talked to after the game about the performance of Jones?
Well, I'm here in South Philadelphia. The Patriots practiced with the Eagles earlier today. And actually, Mac Jones was holding a big news conference with reporters all gathered around him. And fifth-year veteran receiver Kendrick Bourne comes walking by and says, "Love you, Mac." And I think that's reflective of how Mac Jones is endearing himself to his teammates. Kendrick Bourne also saying he was poised. He was relaxed. Bourne said even more relaxed than me. And that's what you want from your first-round pick.
All right, Mike, tell us, preseason game number 2 against Philadelphia, how much time are we going to see? Are we going to see more Mac Jones? How are they going to split the start for both Mac Jones and Cam Newton in preseason game number 2?
Well, think about how Bill Belichick does it traditionally. He likes to sort of build things up over the course of the preseason. Cam played 2 series and 12 snaps in the opener, followed by Mac, who played 5 series and 33 snaps. So if history is any indication, we should see Cam open the game and play a little bit more than he did the other night, followed by Mac, who maybe gets the same amount or maybe even a little more action than he did the other night. Maybe we'll know a little bit more as we get closer to game time.
Mike, one former Patriots QB weighed on who should start, and no, don't get carried away, guys. It wasn't Tom Brady. He's more worried about what the Buccaneers are going to do. It was Drew Bledsoe, the guy that Brady took the starting job from and then built that Hall of Fame career. Bledsoe says he would like to see a full year of Cam Newton under Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels in that tutelage and let Mac Jones kind of learn at his own pace the speed of the NFL game. You live in the area, so you know Pats fans well, and you know what their narrative is, what they want to see. What would you say the overwhelming kind of sway is right now? Are fans wanting Cam, the veteran, or they want the youngster Mac Jones to get his start right away?
I would say they told us what they want in the fourth quarter of the preseason opener last Thursday when they were chanting inside Gillette Stadium, the Patriots' home stadium, "We want Mac." That's what they were calling for in the preseason opener. It was pretty decisive.
Yeah, we eating mac and cheese, Mike. That's what we're eating. You know how much I'm texting you every day, getting updates on Mac Jones. Hey, before we let you go, tell us what's going on with the tight end situation. I know that there's some injuries. The Patriots go out, they bring in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. What's the latest with them and their health issues?
Well, it's a great question because not expecting to see Hunter Henry play on Thursday night due to his shoulder, not expecting to see Jonnu Smith playing Thursday night due to his ankle, and one of the top backups, Matt LaCosse, he got knocked out of this practice earlier today, took a big hit in the practice. So Patriots down a lot of tight ends after an offseason in which they really loaded up the position because they want to feature it in their offense.
Mike Reiss, Patriots reporter in Philadelphia, helping us break down the decision Bill Belichick has to make and some insight on what the fans may want there with, as Anita says, mac and cheese. Mike, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us today on Bet.
You bet.
That's the way to sign off or tag a live shot on Bet. You bet, Anita. All right, why don't we take an opportunity or a chance at making a bet on this game? We have the Eagles and the Patriots in Philadelphia. That's why Mike was there. What are you thinking for this game? Do you like the Pats side because of Mac Jones maybe getting extended? Or would you look at Jalen Hurts and the Eagles as maybe your bet?
When I'm handicapping preseason games, I put a lot more value on teams that have quarterback competitions because we're going to see that 1 and 2 quarterback that very well could be a starter on another roster play at least both of them combined the first half, let alone maybe into the third quarter. And we just heard from Mike. He said that he does expect Cam and Mac Jones to get more playing time. So because of that, I'm leaning towards the Patriots. I want to say, 1.5? They're favored. On top of that, let's be honest, this Patriots team now, they've got a lot of their players back, especially on the defensive side of the ball, who last season opted out because of COVID. They have a lot more depth on both sides of the ball. So I do like the Patriots in this preseason game number 2.
Yeah, I would tail that if I was picking a side as well. I do like the Patriots, Anita Marks. But I'm going to play the total and go under 38.5 in this one. The big reason is, Anita, and we talked about this just a few moments ago on Daily Wager, unders in week 0 and week 1 of the NFL preseason, I should say, 14-3. There's just not a lot of points scored in the preseason, and you touched on some reasons why. Most teams know who their starting quarterback is going to be, and they don't want them to possibly get hurt, so they just put them in mothballs during the preseason. You have guys who will either be on practice squads or maybe even out of the league getting significant snaps on both sides of the ball. Plus, Bill Belichick, his culture is still built on winning games with defense, low scoring. And that team, if they do win a lot of games this year, is going to have to do so with defense. So I trust the depth that the Patriots have built on that roster because of Belichick and his knowledge, more so than what the Eagles have done since winning that Super Bowl. It's kind of fallen apart and they're rebuilding. So I'll ride that trend. Again, 14-3 unders so far in NFL preseason football with the Patriots involved in this game and a offense in the Eagles that doesn't inspire, led by Nick Sirianni. I'll play the under 38.5 when we see those two teams match up. All right, let's switch gears now.
I told you on Daily.
Well, I know you're a big Patriot fan, and I know you like unders too. So we'll get to that in a second because maybe we'll talk some more college football. But now, Anita, as much as we love football, you and I both love to hit the links and golf as much as anyone maybe on the ESPN roster, save for Bucci Gross over there in Connecticut. So let's discuss another huge event on the golfing calendar. We've seen 4 majors and Olympic Games, now the 2021 Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits. First and foremost, our captain for Team America, Steve Stricker. He said he's most likely leaving PGA champion and 50-year-old Phil Mickelson off the team despite his experience and despite a major champion to his name this very season. So I got to know whether you agree or disagree with Strick if he indeed, as indicated, leaves Mickelson off the team.
Listen, we're going to get in a little bit more handicapping on this track in just a second, but I agree with him. You've got to love what Phil did this year, winning a major at the age of 50, 51. He's in the best shape of his life. what he would mean to be a part of that roster and on that Ryder Cup in regard to, him being a veteran and the experience he has, I think would be priceless. But because this is a links course, I think we need to pay attention. I think Steve needs to pay attention to some of the other golfers that have performed well more consistently this season than Phil did in order to get the win, because I think it's going to be a tough challenge against the Europeans.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know if it'd be a good idea to leave Phil off for a couple of reasons. One, he has been playing well. As you said, mentally and physically, his game is in great shape. Obviously, the PGA Championship win. But when I look at this roster for Team USA, you're going to need someone in the locker room that can hold things together and keep it light. Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, and everyone. There's a lot of volatile personalities, and some of them really don't get along on Team America. So having someone like Phil, who can be a patriarch, who is playing good enough golf, I think, to qualify, but can also bring an intangible element of keeping things light between Brooks and Bryson, or maybe, being a guy who can put his arm around Patrick Reed and invite him and involve him with everyone else. Team chemistry matters, and the Europeans have had more of that in recent years than the Americans. It is a big advantage that this is on American track. We'll talk about the odds here in just a second, but I wonder if Phil can help Steve Stricker and his team, because guys who are guaranteed a roster spot, a lot of them don't really like each other on tour, and we know that for sure. Now, from an odds perspective, Anita, the Americans are minus 175 favorites, the Euros plus 175, again, coming over to Kohler, Wisconsin, and Whistling Straits. Do you have a lean to either side with those prices, and why?
So it's really interesting. When you look at the top 15 golfers in the world, 10 of them are American, right? Like, the Americans have had a phenomenal year. And so understandably so, they should be favored. But here's the thing. It's on American soil. So why would you choose Whistling Strait as the golf course that you are playing the Ryder Cup on? Because it is a links-style course, which Europeans thrive on. So if I could get the Europeans, what is it, plus 175 on a track that they fare well on, as opposed, like, why did they go get like a Parkland style course, right? Like, really? This is what you do? You're finally back on American soil, and you're gonna pick a link style course, a feet dye course. So, I think at plus 175 for the Europeans, just because they're gonna feel right at home here in the United States, I think that could be a smart wager.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pass on a side, to be honest, but if I had to pick one, I'd rather bet the Euros at that value than the Americans at minus 175 for the reasons I mentioned. You never know how volatile this locker room could be. These guys could be as teammates. So I'm definitely not betting the Americans. If I bet a side, which I'm not saying I would, I'd lean towards your side and the Euros at plus 175, Anita. All right, finally, we know Steve Stricker has 6 guys that will automatically qualify because of their Ryder Cup standings. Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, DJ, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau amongst that group. But he needs to fill out his roster with 6 others who will be captain's picks. Do you have some names for Strick to consider?
I do. Harris English, he's won twice on tour, 10 top 10s. Tony Finau and Jordan Spieth, because these are 2 of the best Americans who play well on link-style courses and also peat dye courses. Berger, he's won 8 top 10s. Scottie Scheffler, gosh, I love this young man. 8 top 10s as well this season. And Sam Burns, he's won and he has 7 top 10s. So those are my 6 that I would select if I was Stevie.
All right, we have 3 similarities, 3 differences. I have Spieth, I have Berger, I have Scottie Scheffler like you do, but I'm going to throw Patrick Cantlay, Patrick Reed, and Phil Mickelson into the mix. We know Reed is one of the best Americans at this Ryder Cup format. Despite whether or not guys like him, he wins, and wins whether it's individual or tag team events. Patrick Cantlay, just one of the best all-around players in the world. I think he can thrive at a course like Whistling Straits. And then I talked about earlier, I think Mickelson will be necessary for someone in that locker room to have enough clout to say, hey, Bryson, Brooks, cut it out. We got to win this on American soil. DJ, Brooks, whatever your beef is, get over it, squash it. Patty Reed, you are Captain America, and we are going to welcome you onto this team, and everyone's going to get along for the next however many days of this event. So I think he can bring that intangible element Plus, he is playing well enough to warrant on the merit of his own golfing after winning the PGA Championship to be on the team. So 3 similarities, 3 differences there for the Ryder Cup. Maybe one day you and I could co-captain the Ryder Cup because I think we do a good job in that. What do you think, Anita?
How fun would that be?
That would be the time of our lives, no doubt about it. All right, let's get away from golf and get to the NBA Summer League taking place right down the street at a couple different venues here in Las Vegas. 4 games we want to rip through. Let's start first and foremost on today's slate with the Hawks and the Knicks. Knicks 4-point favorites, total set at 174.5. Do you have a bet for this one, Anita?
I do. I've got 2 bets for this one. I like the over here at 174.5, and also I like the Knicks favored by 4. This is the finale for both these teams. Both teams have been on fire. Knicks 90 points they've put up in 3 of their last 4 games. And the Knicks, they are deep. Grimes, McBride have been playing well. So again, I like the over, and I'm on the Knicks favored by 4.
Boom, we're in sync here, baby, just like we would be if we had the co-captain, the Ryder Cup team. But I do like the total specifically, more so than the side. I would lean the Knicks, but the total sticks out to me. I'm going to go over 174.5. Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickly have been 2 of the most dynamic scorers in the Summer League. Toppin is looking like the lottery pick that he was a season ago with his ability in the open floor to finish, rim runs on pick and roll. Quickly's just a lot of fun to watch. A great ball handler, initiator, and scorer, someone who can knife through the center of that defense and get to the rim. So I think New York will drive the pace and the scoring in this game. Jalen Johnson's been really good for the Atlanta Hawks as well, so I'll play over the total of 174.5. I do think we see, a lot of scoring in this matchup between Atlanta and the Knicks. All right, second game we want to take a look at features the Detroit Pistons and the Orlando Magic. Pistons laying 1.5, total at 173.5. Cade Cunningham, of course, the number 1 overall pick. Will he play? Remains to be seen. Sat out, coach's decision last game for the Pistons, but haven't heard yet or not whether or not he will play. Jalen Suggs, unfortunately, 5th overall pick for the Orlando Magic. He is out the rest of the Summer League with a minor hand injury. So given all of that, which way are you leaning? Which bet do you like with Pistons and Magic?
Yeah, I like the Pistons here at -1.5. You mentioned Suggs because of the thumb. Unfortunately, the Magic, they don't have a lot of depth. Meanwhile, the Pistons, they beat the Lakers without Cunningham. They beat the Lakers without 2 of their best players. They're averaging 90 points a game. So I'm on the Pistons here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Pistons laying the 1.5, especially if Cade Cunningham plays. Grab that price now because I imagine it'll shoot up a point or 2. But even if Cunningham doesn't, I think the depth of players who are better on Detroit, youngsters, so to speak, fits the play of Detroit. Guys like Sadiq Bey, who is in his 2nd year, has that NBA experience and was really good last year as a rookie. Luka Garza, the 2nd rounder, who was an all-everything at Iowa but slipped to the back of the 2nd round because of concerns about his health and lack of athleticism. He's been really good in this Summer League, averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds in just under 20 minutes per game. If Cunningham doesn't play, especially, you'll see him play 25, 30 minutes, and he can give you 20 and 10, which I think he did against the Lakers in the last game. So Garza and Bey, I think, can lead a team more effectively, more efficiently than can just Franz Wagner, another lottery pick, who'll be playing without Jalen Suggs on the Orlando side. Next up, Clippers and the Grizzlies. Grizzlies laying 4 in this one, total of 170.5, I should say. What do you like in this matchup, Anita?
I really don't have a play here. I'm hoping that there'll be some player props that will be able to wager on as we get closer to tip-off. Keep in mind, this is 2 clubs that have agreed to a trade. Nothing finalized as of yet. But there's one player, Daniel Oturu. I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly. He's been traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, but the Memphis Grizzlies, they've got like 17 players locked down on contract. Like this is going to be Daniel's last shot to prove to the Memphis Grizzlies what he can do to try to get a roster spot with their team, of course, if this trade goes down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to see. Hopefully there'll be some player props that will be available as we get closer to tip-off. And I'm going to go over on points for a young man who really has to ball out to prove his worth to Memphis.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. A lot in alignment here when it comes to the Summer League. I'll play over 170 and a half as well. I like this a lot for one big reason. These two teams both played yesterday, and individually they scored 96 and 94 points, I think. So that adds up to 190, the total at 170 and a half. Now, that was against different competition, but both teams playing yesterday and having a bunch of youngsters really who probably aren't going to make NBA rosters this season. I think you're going to see little defensive effort, a lot of pace, and a lot of guys trying to chuck to get buckets. So I'm going to play the over, which is one of the lower ones, I think, on the Summer League slate. It was 169.5 last night, early this morning. It's picked up a point, so it looks like steam is pursuing the over here. I'll keep it with it at 170.5. Again, both teams playing yesterday, maybe a little tired defensively with their legs, and I think this is a consolation game. This is certainly not a game that's going to matter for Summer League prestige. I think you're going to see a lot of guys focused on their offense more specifically than their defense in this game. So hopefully 171 is at least what we see in terms of the total. Finally, Hornets and the Bulls match up tonight in a nightcap, I believe, on ESPN2. Hornets laying 4, total of 167, so a low one. Patrick Williams, though, likely done for the rest of the Summer League for the Bulls, despite really playing well for them. So how are you leaning when it comes to Hornets and Bulls, Anita?
I like the Bulls tonight, and I'll take them and give me the 4 points. Listen, the Hornets, they are over in Las Vegas. They can't wait to leave Las Vegas. Cue Sheryl Crow, please. They've lost. They have 2 games that they've lost by 1 point. I'm sure they're uber frustrated. And as we know, they're a very young team. They've got a ton of turnovers. So I'm going to go with the Bulls, and I'm taking the 4.
All right, first time in the Summer League, we're on opposite sides. I will lay the 4 with the Hornets. I just think you're going to see, again, more players that have legitimate NBA rotational futures on the Hornets side. James Bouknight, obviously. I believe they have Kai Jones on that team as well, who's been really good. Even LiAngelo Ball is getting some kind of good narrative. Not that he's necessarily an NBA caliber player, but the middle ball it has been playing apparently pretty well during the NBA Summer League with his hustle and counting stats. So with Patrick Williams, who had been by far the Bulls' best Summer League player, on the shelf, even though I don't love in a preseason or Summer League game having such a large number to cover for, that may not seem like a lot, but it is for a Summer League game, I will lay the 4 with the Hornets and hope they put it to the Bulls, who again will be without Patrick Williams. All right, good stuff in the Summer League, Anita. Let's now move to some bold predictions. We have seen at least one game from every team in the NFL during the preseason. We're just a few weeks away from the regular season starting and this thing really counting. So I thought we'd give our viewers, as we shut it down here, a bold prediction for 2021's NFL season. I will allow you to start, Anita. What you got?
Everyone is sleeping on the Denver Broncos. So give me the Denver Broncos over 9.5 wins, and yes, they make it to the playoffs at plus 155. Listen, few things. Number one, I know they got a quarterback battle going on. That's a good thing, because one thing that we know happens in the NFL, injuries happen. So when you've got Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater on your roster, that's a good thing in regard to depth and making sure that if one guy goes down, another one, Lock and Step, can step up. And obviously, you don't have any deficiencies there at the quarterback position. Wide receiver-wise, arguably top 5 wide receiving core in the NFL. They also got Noah Fant at the tight end position. Javonte Williams, they drafted him. He's going to be a beast in the backfield. Their offense has a lot of speed, a lot of excitement. Defensively, I see them top 5. Patrick Surtain, his first preseason game, a pick 6, and their schedule very favorable. So I'm all over Denver.
Yeah, that is bold. If they figure out who can play quarterback or is the best quarterback for them, whether it's, as you said on Daily Wager, the hot kind of crazy thing in Drew Lock or the steady, sure thing in Teddy Bridgewater, if they can get competent play from either of those guys, I think they can be dangerous because the rest of that roster is pretty good. My bold prediction, I think the Houston Texans are going winless. I would bet, I think you can get 25-1 that they go 0-17. All you need to know is that in week 1 at home, they have a rookie QB and rookie head coach in Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer coming to Houston for a home game, and they are dogs in this matchup. A team that won 1 game a season ago, lost 15 in a row, they're underdogs. That says all you need to know about the Houston Texans. I think they go 0-17 and have an historically awful season this year, Anita. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Bet. Anita, I appreciate you hanging out. We had you in the studio here on the screen. I like the Justin Fields shirt. We will be back, of course, Wednesday. And I think Fortin Ball will be back for Anita Marks. I'm